The community had been plagued by gang violence, so once I arrived, one of the first things we tried to do was to mobilize a meeting with community leaders to deal with gangs. And I'd worked for weeks on this project. We invited the police, we made phone calls, we went to churches, we passed out flyers. The night of the meeting we arranged rows and rows of chairs in anticipation of this crowd. And we waited. And we waited. And finally, a group of older folks walked into the hall and they sat down. And this little old lady raised her hand and asked, "Is this where the bingo game is?" It was a disaster. Nobody showed up. My first big community meeting, nobody showed up. And later, the volunteers I worked with told me, "That's it, we're quitting." They'd been doing this for 2 years even before I had arrived. They had nothing to show for it. And I'll be honest. I felt pretty discouraged as well. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought about quitting. And as we were talking, I looked outside and saw some young boys playing in a vacant lot across the street. And they were just throwing rocks up at a boarded building. They had nothing better to do late at night, just throwing rocks. And I said to the volunteers, "Before you quit, answer one question. What will happen to those boys if you quit? Who will fight for them if we don't? Who will give them a fair shot if we leave?" And one by one, the volunteers decided not to quit. We went back to those neighborhoods and we kept at it. We registered new voters, and we set up after-school programs, and we fought for new jobs. And helped people live lives with some measure of dignity. And we sustained ourselves with those small victories. We didn't set the world on fire. Some of those communities are still very poor. There are still a lot of gangs out there. But I believe that it was those small victories that helped me win. The bigger victories of my last 3.5 years as president. And I wish I could say that this perseverance came from some innate toughness in me. But the truth is, it was learned. I got it from watching the people who raised me. More specifically, I got it from watching the women who shaped my life. I grew up as the son of a single mom who struggled to put herself through school and make ends meet. She had marriages that fell apart, even went on food stamps at one point to help us get by. But she didn't quit. And she earned her degree. And made sure that through scholarships and hard work, my sister and I earned ours. She used to wake me up when we were living overseas, wake me up before dawn to study my English lessons. And when I'd complain, she'd just look at me and say, "This is no picnic for me either, Buster." And my mom ended up dedicating herself to helping women around the world access the money. They needed to start their own businesses. She was an early pioneer in microfinance. And that meant, though, that she was gone a lot. And she had her own struggles trying to figure out balancing motherhood and a career. And when she was gone, my grandmother stepped up to take care of me. She only had a high school education. She got a job at a local bank. She hit the glass ceiling, and watched men she once trained promoted up the ladder ahead of her. But she didn't quit. Rather than grow hard or angry each time she got passed over. She kept doing her job as best as she knew how, and ultimately ended up being vice president at the bank. She didn't quit. And later on, I met a woman who was assigned to advise me on my first summer job at a law firm. And she gave me such good advice that I married her. And Michelle and I gave everything we had to balance our careers and a young family. But let's face it, no matter how enlightened I must have thought myself to be, it often fell more on her shoulders when I was traveling, when I was away. I know that when she was with our girls, she'd feel guilty that she wasn't giving enough time to her work. And when she was at her work, she'd feel guilty she wasn't giving enough time to our girls. And both of us wished we had some superpower that would let us be. In two places at once. But we persisted. We made that marriage work. And the reason Michelle had the strength to juggle everything, and put up with me and eventually the public spotlight, was because she, too, came from a family of folks who didn't quit because she saw her. Dad get up and go to work every day even though he never finished college, even though he had crippling MS. She saw her mother, even though she never finished college, in that school, that urban school. every day making sure Michelle and her brother were getting the education they deserved. Michelle saw how her parents never quit. They never indulged in self-pity, no matter how stacked the odds were against them. They didn't quit. Those are the folks who inspire me. People ask me sometimes, who inspires you, Mr. President? Those quiet heroes all across. This country, some of your parents and grandparents who are sitting here, no fanfare. No articles written about them, they just persevere. They just do their jobs. They meet their responsibilities. They don't quit. I'm only here because of them. They may not have set out to change the world. But in small, important ways, they did. They certainly changed mine. So whether it's starting a business, or running for office, or raising an amazing family, remember that making your mark on the world is hard. It takes patience. It takes commitment. It comes with plenty of setbacks and it comes with plenty of failures. But whenever you feel that creeping cynicism, whenever you hear those voices say you can't make a difference, whenever somebody tells you to set your sights lower, the trajectory of this country should give you hope. Previous generations should give you hope. What young generations have done before should give you hope. Young folks who marched and mobilized and stood up and sat in, from Seneca Falls to Selma to Stonewall. Didn't just do it for themselves, they did it for other people. That's how we achieved women's rights. That's how we achieved voting rights. That's how we achieved workers' rights. That's how we achieved. Gay rights. That's how we've made this union more perfect. And if you're willing to do your part now, if you're willing to reach up and close that gap between. What America is and what America should be, I want you to know that I will be right there with you. If you are ready to fight for that brilliant, radically simple idea of America that no matter who you are or what you look like, no matter who you love or what God you worship, you can still pursue your own happiness. I will join you every step of the way. Now more than ever, America needs what you, the class of 2012, has to offer. America needs you to reach high and hope deeply. And if you fight for your seat at the table, and you set a better example, and you persevere in what you decide to do with your life, I have every faith not only that you will succeed, but that, through you, our nation will continue to be a beacon of light for men and women, boys and girls, in every corner of the globe. So thank you. Congratulations. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Barack Obama. Baton Rouge flooding press statement. Delivered August 23, 2016, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Well, to begin with, I just want to say thank you to the outstanding officials. Behind me who have been on the ground, working 24/7 since this flood happened. It begins with outstanding leadership from the top with Governor John Bell Edwards. And we very much appreciate all the outstanding work he's done. His better half, the First Lady of Louisiana. I know has been by his side every step of the way, and we are grateful for her. I know they've got their own cleaning up to do because the governor's mansion was flooded as well. In addition, I want to acknowledge Senator Bill Cassidy, Senator David Vitter, Representative Garrett Graves. Representative Cedric Richmond, the Mayor of Baton Rouge, Kip Holden. And somebody who I can't brag enough about, one of the best hires I made as president, the administrator of FEMA. Craig Fugate, who has done such an outstanding job not just in dealing with this particular incident. But has really rebuilt FEMA so that there's a change of culture. And everybody knows that when a disaster happens, FEMA is going to be there on the ground. Cooperating with state and local officials rapidly and with attention to detail. And keeping the families who've been affected uppermost in their minds. So we very much appreciate everything Craig has done. It's hard, by the way, for Craig to be here because he's a Florida Gator. And he's been seeing a lot of LSU t-shirts as we've been passing by. I just had a chance to see some of the damage from the historic floods here in Louisiana. I come here, first and foremost, to say that the prayers of the entire nation are with everybody who lost loved ones. We are heartbroken by the loss of life. There are also people who are still desperately trying to track down friends and family. We're going to keep on helping them every way that we can.